Well, let's bring in our guests. We have in the studio Mr. Idris Mohammed, the former Managing Director, Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Mohammed. Thank you for having me, Ruth. Glad to have you. If you look at the situation across states, we've seen from this kind of report and the background report we saw earlier, there are diverse means of this energy, alternative energy sources. Would you say from your perspective now that states are exploring or harnessing this vast potential the nation is blessed with?
Thank you, Ruth. I would like to start the discussion by thanking our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for being in charge of the crisis that we have in Nigeria's power sector. The frequency of the system collapse in the country made the president to develop personal interest in ensuring that anything to do to avoid system collapse is achieved. And therefore, when a part of Nigeria, the entire northern Nigeria, 17 states, were in darkness due to system collapse, it took the personal intervention of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu through the Honorable Minister of Power to ensure that reliable power supply is restored to northern Nigeria. And that was a disaster waiting to happen. The option is obvious. If the other source of generating power, which is gas majorly and hydro, is having issues, the other option that is available is renewable energy. By renewable energy, we refer to solar, wind, waste to power, and then hydro and biofuel. But let me say that the experiment to actually make a major breakthrough in this regard is already in the Ministry of Power. There is a pilot scheme at the moment that was started many years ago in Katsina. That's Nigeria's biggest one-point renewable energy project at Lambarimi. That project is currently ongoing, and the Minister of Power is dedicated to ensure the completion of that project. And in order to make that project in Lambarimi to become a model renewable energy project, they introduced a hybrid. A hybrid means a combination of two sources. That is the solar and the wind. The solar will complement the wind, and then the wind will complement the solar in order to bring about the efficiency of that project. Now, if, like the Honorable Minister of Power is desirous of ensuring that that project is completed on time, that will be a major breakthrough for renewable energy projects in Nigeria. In one point, you have a 10 megawatts of solar, and the other one, you have 10 megawatts of wind. If that 20 megawatts is achieved from one point, and then it is replicated in the same area, for instance, Katsina State, I am aware, is making serious effort to complement the federal government's effort.
It's good, Mr. Mohammed, you just mentioned Katsina State, because I'd like you to weigh in on the capacity of states to explore. We're seeing the mini-grids and off-grids alternative technologies, but is that enough, really, when you look at the capacities of the states?
By and large, it all depends on the interests of the state government. For instance, a state government has the capacity to generate a minimum of 100 megawatts of power from solar, from wind, at the same time. But right now that it is obvious because of the grid instability and no explanation whatsoever. I hope that the lessons would be taken seriously by state government. Also, the devolution of the regulatory issues that relate to constructing solar power plants, wind power plants, hydropower plants has been devolved to states. It's a great opportunity for state governments to actually develop interest in order to make sure that darkness is removed entirely from the Nigerian environment.
Which will require a lot of investment, Mr. Mohammed, you agree with me. Isn't it the best time, especially with this recent national grid collapse, is it not the best time to look at, or rather exploring investment opportunities in these areas?
Yes, incidentally, the investment has a support of the energy transition agenda of the global community. The energy transition program comes with it funding support, funding opportunities for renewable energy. It's for state governments to take advantage of this gigantic program that the global community is actually interested in, is promoting, and then the cost of renewable energy projects is more or less dropping to the barest minimum. Therefore, I agree to a large extent that it is very, very necessary for states to take advantage of this current situation to make sure that they support the effort of the federal government. To support the effort of the federal government, like what you have read or what you have broadcasted that is currently taking place in Kano, should also be the same for all the states in Nigeria, especially in the coastal regions also. The coastal regions can also develop interest and undertake projects in a combination of the wind and then the solar. And they can generate quite a huge amount of power from that region. By the coastal region, I mean Lagos, Port Harcourt, Calabar, and Warri. All those are areas that can take advantage of this new innovation, this new hybrid technology to generate power. And then within a very shortest time, you are good to go. So I advise that state governments all over Nigeria, if one state government decides to generate 100 megawatts of power, we have 36 states in Nigeria with federal capital. It means that states alone can generate 3,700 megawatts of power within 12 months.
We have the resources, Mr. Mohammed, but we'll pick up with this conversation. Let's take a break. All right, Mr. Idris Mohammed, you just saw Enugu's report, and one key thing I'll pick out from there is the issue of funding. Earlier, you talked about the cost of renewable energy. Now, how can private sector come in, in the aspect of investment, especially if they want to explore the benefits from the aspect of job creation, reliability, and of course, stability?
Private sector would normally come in once the project, renewable energy projects, either solar, wind, biomass, waste. Once the project is bankable, the private investor would normally participate in carrying out those kind of projects. And in most of the projects that you have seen, in all those states where this activity is taking place, a lot of it is coming and is being funded through private sector initiatives.
Okay.
Therefore, it's just for the state government to create that, interest and commitment to support the federal government's effort in ensuring that they develop their own independent sources of power. Because they don't have any reason whatsoever to lack funds, because for sure private investors are knocking on the doors of state governments for looking for bankable projects. And a lot of these renewable energy projects are really hot and desirous, and then funding is available. As you can see, in some of the states that you have visited, you can see that work is going on. Then what is happening in those other states? Those other states also need to brace up and then also develop interest in developing the economy. Power is the backbone of the economy. And then the business of power is a very, very lucrative business. In anywhere in the world where you have the business of power, that is the backbone of the economy, is certainly a very, very profitable enterprise. So state governments should wake up and then participate fully in renewable energy projects. And that will be the game changer for the Nigeria's power sector. We don't have any other option than to know that once there is electricity, the economy would be performing. Employment will be at its peak. Youth's restiveness would also be checked. Therefore, state governments should really play a major role. And once they are up to it, a lot will happen. In 1 year, renewable projects generally, they don't last more than 1 year. So if each state government, like I was saying before, will generate 1,000 megawatt, it means that for the 36 and 1 federal capital, which means that states have the capacity to generate 3,700 megawatts from 1 point. And then look at the capacity of the Mambila hydroelectric power project. Mambila hydroelectric power project has the capacity to generate a minimum of 3,050 megawatts of power. It has the capacity to generate much more than that. Yeah. Why can't that project be realized? Northern state governments should come up, team up, and then make sure that Mambila hydropower project is realized. The federal government has tried to develop that project, but little has been achieved. Now that a whole region, the whole northern Nigeria will be in darkness for days, and then it will take the intervention of Mr. President to restore power supply, it means that the government in that region must really think twice. And they have no option than to embrace and complete Mambila hydropower project, and then also try to develop the solar for to develop 100 megawatts of solar for each state. That would be like 1,700. And to have over 4,000 megawatts coming out from northern Nigeria, it means the boom is yet to come.
Mr. Mohammed, just very briefly now, of course, these alternative energy source is looking promising, but affordability and accessibility could be a challenge. At the moment, if you look at the tariff structure is such that it is customer sensitive. And because it is customer sensitive, and then the government is actually very interested in ensuring that the customer is protected, I think that will be an issue that will not in any way stop or jeopardize the business of power. Renewable energy is the way to go. There's no two way about it. It's a game changer. And now that it's obvious that the grid is having challenges, we cannot continue to remain in darkness, but rather to embrace the renewable energy option. Wind, solar, waste, hydro, and a lot of other. Coal. Nigeria's coal is one of the best coal in the world. It's clean. It's called coking coal. The coking coal is found in Nigeria, and it's only in Nigeria that you have that coking coal. Therefore, the fact that it is the cleanest quality of coal, it means that you can generate power from coal. And well, is that been explored?
Yeah, some of the companies like Dangote, like those cement manufacturing plants, a lot of them are on coal. And then it's just that the information is not quite available or is not being marketed for obvious reasons. But the coal to power business is a boom, and it's taking place right now. That's why those cement companies are not complaining, and they are not investing in biofuel.
All right. Of course, we'll continue to raise the ante on awareness for alternative energy sources. Thank you so much, Mr. Idris. Mohammed is the former Managing Director, Kaduna Electricity Distribution Company. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ruth.